Hey everybody, it's Gail again. I'm here with you on Wednesday morning, and I hope you're all doing okay. Happy Wednesday, happy middle of the week. I hope that everybody had a good night's sleep and ready to start the day. Today's topic is going to be about the bipolar brain. And for those of you who don't know, my name is Gail. I'm from North Carolina, and I suffer from bipolar 1 disorder. Bipolar brain is how I define the negative thoughts that I have about prior experiences, and they become ruminations. I ruminate on them all day, every day. It's a lot like rapid thought process where you jump from one topic to another. I'll ruminate on something for 10 to 15 seconds, and then I'll go to another thought, and then I'll ruminate on that for 10 to 15 seconds. And then, sorry about that, my coffee pot's done. I'll ruminate on that for 10 to 15 seconds, and then I'll go back to what I was ruminating on before I started ruminating on the second thing I was ruminating on. So it's kind of a vicious cycle. And I have some tips and tricks on how to eliminate that type of thinking if you're like me and you have those thought processes going on in your head. So what happens is it becomes endless negative self-talk. And there's a couple ways of going about not necessarily getting rid of it, but that would be nice. But maybe decreasing the intensity of these conversations that you're having with yourself. My conversations tend to be things that I look at that have happened in the past, like certain social situations where I have a lot of social anxiety too. And so if I am coming from a social gathering or a social event, a lot of times my ruminations will be about what I might have said to a certain person or another. Was that well received? Was I out of line when I said, such and such? Or, was I getting too personal? Was I too aloof? This self-talk can go on forever, and then it leads into thinking negatively about yourself, and you start to believe the self-talk. So it really is a vicious cycle. So I work with a therapist, and there's some things that we do to try to mitigate that negative self-talk and get rid of that, and replace it with some other more productive things that you can do to kind of relax your anxiety, and things that you can kind of do to eliminate that self-talk and move on to another more fun topic to think about. So one thing that I do is I listen to music, and a lot of times what I do is I listen to one particular song multiple times in a row, and I'll listen to it, and I'll try to see if I can find something different about the song that I didn't hear the first time I listened to it, such as a lyric that I didn't notice before, or a melody that I didn't notice, or a rhythm that I didn't notice before. And I kind of try to focus on that for a couple seconds, and I'll listen to that song over and over and over until that's kind of all I can think about. So it almost replaces the the racing thoughts that I have, and then I can focus on the song and not think about what I did the night before at the cocktail party that I was at. So another thing that you can do is meditation. Meditation can be hard when you have bipolar disorder, especially when you're in a manic state. And when you're in a manic state, you tend to have more of that rapid racing thoughts going on in your mind, and you might tend to ruminate a little bit more. I know that when I'm in a manic state, I tend to ruminate more. So you could meditate, you could do yoga, you could do Pilates, you could do something to center yourself and ground yourself, and almost kind of use it as an exercise tool to eliminate anxiety, because I think that all of this negative self-talk is rooted in anxiety, and it's rooted um, in what we think of ourselves, and in what we're afraid to maybe portray to the public. Um, so meditating is another idea that has worked for me in the past. It doesn't get rid of the self-talk, but it definitely quiets those voices in my head down. So another thing you could do is write write your thoughts, write down what you're thinking, make a story out of them. One cool thing that you could do is, if you're thinking of a certain scenario and you can't stop thinking about it and you have it on a loop in your head, is you could write it down as a different story with a different ending, with a more positive spin on it, and then you can kind of adopt that way of thinking, and get rid of the negative self-talk and start thinking about how you would redo that situation if you had the chance, and kind of rewrite that story of a conversation that you had with somebody that you don't think went very well, or a party that you don't think that went very well, even though you're probably wrong, because I'm wrong most of the time about the way that I feel or act when I'm in a social situation. I'm constantly second guessing myself, and constantly talking to my husband about it and saying, am I doing okay? Am I doing okay? And constantly seeking that approval, that validation that everything is going okay. So writing about it has helped me a lot. TV. I'm not a big condoner of being lazy, but sometimes you just need your brain to shut up. And sometimes the best way to do that is to get into a TV show, binge a new Netflix series, do something like that. Right now, I'm binging Young Sheldon, and it's the perfect mindless activity, and it's not too haha funny. And it's not too serious that I can watch it before I go to bed and it doesn't overstimulate me. It's funny, it's sweet, it's charming, and it kind of gives me something else to think about, instead of, what how I came across to somebody earlier in the day. So as you can see, there's a pattern forming here. I have tremendous social anxiety. So um, the negative self-talk that I talk about, maybe you guys don't experience that as much as I do, but that it's there, and I know that if you guys are experiencing it, just know that you're not alone, and that I'm out there for you, and we're all in this together. I'll never stop saying that we're all in this together, because we're the human race, and it's not a race to see who gets to the end first. It is all about the journey. So, and the last thing that I wanted to mention about how to kind of quiet the noise in your brain is to read. I read a lot of poetry. I read a lot of nonfiction, and I can get lost in a book very easily. It's a fun thing to get caught up in, and you can kind of get to know the characters and get to know the story, and it's a good thing. Reading is a good thing, especially with all the social media and TV and stuff out there. It's still good to pick up a book every now and then. So those are my ideas on negative self-talk and how to kind of mitigate those symptoms that you're having. So I appreciate you listening, and I'm going to close this with a quote by Buddha. And the quote is, "There is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path, and happiness is the path." There's no one way to go about happiness. You just have to do it. So I hope you guys are doing it today. And I love you all. Thank you for listening. And I'll see you on my next video.